The Western media and Western politicians are lying to you. Well, plus ça change, you might think, but this is a very specific case study and it is deeply illustrative and deeply alarming. Yesterday, racist Israeli football thugs rioted in Amsterdam while publicly inciting genocide, a criminal act under the 1948 Genocide Convention. This is the proximate cause of the violence. Now, to be clear, I'm not a vigilante sort of guy, and I'm not going to pretend to know exactly what happened in Amsterdam. I wasn't there, I'm not on the ground, and nor would I ever justify violence against anyone unless in self-defence. These are important caveats. I'll always stick to the truth and always be morally consistent. What matters is you can say all that without erasing what we know happened in Amsterdam, because we can all see and hear for ourselves. Now, the narrative being pushed is that there was a pogrom against Jewish people in Amsterdam yesterday. A exceptionally serious claim. One of the most serious things you could possibly say. Now, the King of Netherlands declares that we failed the Jewish community as the country did during World War II. And to be clear, the Netherlands suffered the worst impact of Nazi occupation of any Western European nation, with 3/4 of its pre-war Jewish population exterminated by the Nazis. It is absolutely obscene to compare what happened to Amsterdam to that abomination. Now, the headlines across the media simply portray the Maccabi Tel Aviv fans as victims. Israeli soccer fans attacked in Amsterdam, authorities say, is a typical such headline. Ursula von der Leyen, the president of the EU Commission, says, outraged by last night's vile attacks targeting Israeli citizens in Amsterdam. I just spoke with the Dutch Prime Minister. I strongly condemn these unacceptable acts. Anti-Semitism has absolutely no place in Europe, and we are determined to fight all forms of hatred. She has shown more outrage here, I would note, than she has for the mass murder of tens of thousands of Palestinians by the Israeli state. And she says all forms of hatred, but there was very specific forms of hatred being expressed on the streets of Amsterdam, we'll come on to, which she clearly did not condemn. Now, this is Naftali Bennett. He's the former Israeli Prime Minister.
At this very moment in Amsterdam, Jews are being attacked at multiple locations with brutal force. It's a pogrom in action. I call upon the Dutch authorities, the Amsterdam authorities, to act immediately to prevent further injury and to prevent the loss of lives.
Now, before I put that in context, this is Sky News talking about Kristallnacht, the murderous Nazi pogrom of Jews across Germany in 1938.
Some of those people who perhaps live in Amsterdam, those Jewish people there, were remembering Kristallnacht, which was a pogrom that happened before World War II, where Jews were targeted, of course. You can understand how upset, how angry, how afraid they are that this happened in their own country in modern times.
Now, as the Israeli analyst Meyrav Zonstein puts it, comparing what is happening in Amsterdam to the Holocaust or to pogroms in Russia is absurd, offensive, and a cynical weaponization of anti-Semitism that undermines Jewish safety everywhere, all things that will become further normalized in a second Trump-Netanyahu period. The Israeli leftist politician Ofer Kasif, a lone courageous voice amongst Jewish Israeli politicians in the Knesset, the Israeli parliament, offers far more accurate coverage than the vast majority of the Western media, saying the spirit of Israeli fascism reached Amsterdam. Fans go on a violent rampage, beating, tearing up Palestinian flags in the streets as if they were an occupying force and shouting Nazi slogans in favour of the extermination of a nation, and whining when the situation degenerates into complete chaos and violence returns to them like a boomerang. Any violence is obscene and unacceptable. Both sides should be held accountable for the hooliganism, and the Israeli media, as usual, approaches, hides and distorts reality in the service of the authorities. Well, not just the Israeli media, to be very clear. What actually happened? These racist Israeli football hooligans went on the rampage. Firstly, at the stadium, they jeered through a minute's silence for victims of Spain's floods because Spain has recognised the Palestinian state and spoken in support of arms embargo. Do you know what they were chanting there? There's no schools in Gaza because we killed all the kids. What do you even say? What do you even say at this point? This attempt to turn the world on its head and reality upside down, this just simply cannot carry on. This gaslighting. They tore down Palestinian flags in Amsterdam.
Haydi! El, İsrail!
They chanted death to the Arabs and let the IDF fuck the Arabs, which is incitement to genocide and a grave criminal offence in all countries which have ratified the 1948 Genocide Convention, which of course includes the Netherlands and, I might add, Israel. It gets worse. The BBC headline was Israeli football fans attacked in Amsterdam, officials say, with a clip of this purported attack. Indeed, you can see this clip for yourself. It does indeed look disturbing. Just a minor issue here. A Dutch photographer responded to someone sharing this clip with the following: "I'm the creator of this video. You're spreading fake news. This is a group of Maccabi supporters starting a fight and beating one Dutchman. Delete this content. I didn't give you permission." I mean, that just sums it up, doesn't it? That just sums it up. The attempt to turn reality on its head. Literally sharing a video of Maccabi fans attacking a Dutchman and then portraying it as though it's Maccabi fans, Israeli fans, football hooligans being attacked. And as dire as the vast majority of the coverage has been, even Sky News posted this. And buried in the BBC coverage, its live feed is the following. The BBC has spoken to a fan who went to the match last night who reports seeing Maccabi Tel Aviv fans, supporters, on the Amsterdam metro going up and down the carriages 3 or 4 times looking for a fight. Connor says everyone was going into the city, so everyone knew what was going to happen. He adds he's shocked by the portrayal of the incident in the media, adding that the attacks were completely provoked and Palestinian flags were torn down the night before. It then adds in italics as a disclaimer below it though. As a reminder, authorities in the Netherlands have condemned anti-Semitic attacks on Israeli fans, with Amsterdam's mayor reporting Israeli supporters were actively sought out for violence across the city. Look, anti-Semitism is real. It's a danger. It's rising. It has to be confronted. The constant attempt to dilute its meaning is beyond irresponsible. If Russian football hooligans had chanted their way through a minute's silence for the dead victims of a country which had taken some sort of stance against the invasion of Ukraine by chanting in support of the mass murder of Ukrainian children, if they had rampaged through a city ripping down Ukrainian flags, if they were chanting death to Ukrainians, if they violently attacked residents of that city, if they then suffered violence, how would the media frame it? You know the answer to that question, even though it's a total hypothetical, because Russian football clubs are banned from these competitions, correctly, unlike Israeli football clubs, even though that country is committing genocide. You are being lied to. You are not being told the truth. Our media will consistently bend reality when it comes to Israel. That happens over and over again. And they're showing more outrage and horror at what happened to Israeli football hooligans than they have for the mass slaughter of Palestinians, including so many children. The children these hooligans relished murdering. Something's got to give, guys. This is a disgrace. And we cannot let our media consistently gaslight and lie to us, not least concerning one of the grave atrocities of our time. Please like and subscribe. Do share this video. Get the truth out. Help us carry on taking on this burning skip of a media industry at patreon.com/4. Listen to us on podcast. I'll speak to you soon.